You're listening to the 49 Carats Podcast, a 49ers Goldmine production with Stephanie Sanchez.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another edition of the 49 Carats Podcast. I'm your host, Steph. It is Friday, May 23rd. We've got a really fun show for you guys today. I think every 49er fan is going to really enjoy everything that we talk about. We got the details of Brock Purdy's contract. He went on a little press tour a little bit after his deal, and I think we'll all love what he had to say about this team, about himself. So we're going to get into it. Joining me as always on an off-season Friday is my guy, Wayne Breezy. Wayne, how you doing, man?
I am good and ready to go. We got the quarterback. We got the linebacker. We had the tight end. We signed the DB. We are extending. Get the clips ready. Let's go.
Get the clips ready. They did it all. Like they did it all, and it's not even OTAs yet. That's, I think, what's most impressive about the 49ers offseason. We're not used to this. Me and Wayne were just saying, man, we're in for a kind of a boring offseason, but we're going to be happy about it, Wayne. We're going to be happy.
No drama.
No drama at all. Look, we already knew some things about Brock Purdy's deal, of course, you know, the high level numbers that got passed along as soon as that deal was reported. But now, Wayne, we got the year-to-year breakdown of his deal, and I told everyone, right, like, hey, if for any reason, I don't even think there should have been a reason, but if for any reason anyone was freaking out about the initial numbers of that contract, always wait for the details, for the year-to-year breakdown, because that's where the 49ers tend to cook, right? And so with this deal, they most definitely did, Wayne. Starting in 2025, cap hit of $13.8 million. And I think like that's pretty fair compared to what he was getting paid before then. That includes the prorated signing bonus as well. And in 2026, it jumps up to $30.8 million. So an increase there, but again, for a starting quarterback, still a pretty good manageable price. At 2027, 30.8. So 26 and 27, same cap hit. And they have an out after this 2027 season with minimal dead cap implications. So as always, the 49ers give themselves a lot of flexibility. And then also, yes, let Purdy cook. I think, too, if they wanted to restructure the deal at this point or sign him to a new deal, this would be the time to do it as well. So it could go either way after that 2027 season, because after that, the cap hits jump up dramatically. 2028, $57.6 million. 2029, $72.5 million. He's not going to see that number. So like that's the thing, right? Everyone gets alarmed by those backloaded numbers. And I think the idea for the 49ers is that it would never get to that point. So Wayne, when you see these numbers, when you see the year-to-year breakdown, how do you feel about how the 49ers did with this one?
I mean, it's like a win for the team. It's a win-win contract, right? Sure. It's win-win. It's win for Brock because he's going from making $5 million to $41 million this year. That's a big win. Like, you know what I mean? That's a huge win. But it's more of a win for the team. And it's kind of weird. Like, I was sitting here breaking down this contract, Steph, and I'm saying to myself, yo, the team fleeced him a little bit. Like, they did. Like, think about it. Like, they didn't fleece him for the money, but it's really a 2-year deal.
Yeah.
If you really break down the factors of the contract, you said the details. You break down the details of this contract, it's a 2-year deal. And I'm going to tell you why it's a 2-year deal. Because you go into 2025, yeah, that guaranteed number, it's really a 2-year, $115 million deal. He's going to get those guarantees. So Brock's going to potentially walk away if the Niners wanted to move on with $115 million in cash. Like, technically, that's what he's going to walk away. Jed York is pretty much going to spend about $100 million in cash on this deal, and they could potentially walk away from it if Brock doesn't live up to what he needs to live up to, as far as getting his team to the Super Bowl, whatever their goals and factors are, that's on them. But You look at this deal. That April 1st, the Niners put those facts. But if the Niners want to continue with Brock, they have to agree to that deadline a year early. So if you go into 2026, and if they have to guarantee him the 2027 salary in 2026. And when you go to 2027, they have to guarantee that in like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so the Niners got to make that decision. Are we going to pay him the $57 million? Like, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. So I feel like this is a huge win for the Niners when it just comes to breaking down the numbers. Brock's going to walk away with definitely more money. It's kind of like a Kirk Cousins deal. I hate to say it, but that's kind of like how Parag kind of like designed this out. 2 years, you're going to get that guaranteed money. They're going to pay you. It's front loaded. Boom. Cash up front. And you talked about the back loaded money. You know, Brock is hoping I outplay my contract. I come back to the table. And then it's going to, I really truly believe Brock, his agent name's Kyle, right?
Yes.
They're going to cook. So I think Brock took this team-friendly deal. Say, you know what? I got you. I want to be here. Thank you for the opportunity. I'm grateful. I appreciate you. And let's do it. Brock's going to get paid. But let Brock cook. Let Brock start making some of those factors that we see Josh Allen make, and let him throw for the most yards in a season and the most touchdowns and the least amount of interceptions like Joe Burrow did last year. Oh, well, okay, now we talking. Because now Brock's agent going to be like, look, yo. Yeah. We did y'all do service on the first contract. So that's why I said it's a win-win. It just feels like the Niners gave themselves an out. Then Brock Purdy's agent comes back and throws in the no trade clause. So, yeah, we can't trade you, but we could cut you. Like, you know what I'm saying? And it doesn't really affect the Niners in a big way. And Brock will still walk away with money. So it's good. It's good for both parties. It gives Brock an opportunity to continue to improve. It gives the 49ers the opportunity to continue to improve as well if Brock doesn't hit, if anything is to happen. So that's why I said it's a win-win. Parag definitely cooked.
Listen, this is a dressed up prove it deal. That's really all it is. It's
waiting to say that. I felt like you were itching to say that. I said all that. All you had to do was say, Wayne, dressed up prove it deal. Got you.
I was thinking, I was cooking right here. But no, like, I mean, when you think of it that way, that it's really only the 2 years, like, yeah, that's pretty crazy. But I think it's just another way of Brock to bet on himself. And I honestly think that's a good position for the 49ers to be in, for Brock to want to continue to prove himself, because that's when he's at his best, I think. And, you know, actually, when he spoke with the media on Wednesday, he was asked, kind of what he wanted to get out of this deal. And so I'm going to play the clip right here because I thought it was pretty interesting. And again, this is something I think 49er fans are going to love to hear. So here we go.
We both, before the whole thing started, sat down and we were like, all right, this is our vision. This is hopefully what we can get out of it and get what you deserve and have earned, and go from there. But obviously we want to, make sure that we're working together with our organization and setting up everybody for success. It's not just for me to get all the money as much as I can, but also like, hey, let's surround yourself with a great team and players and a great locker room, and all those things mattered. So we definitely talked about that. And then, like I said, he would just update me periodically, but there were some things that we wanted in there to protect me down the road and whatnot, and the contract and the language and all that stuff. But he did an amazing job with handling that and then breaking it down to me, like what it is, what it means, and what we need to get, what we can give up, all that kind of stuff. That's just negotiating. And so, like I said, he did an amazing job, and I'm very proud of him.
I'm proud of his agent too, Wayne, because yes, I think he did, and Purdy did the 49ers a favor, as we've been saying. But it sounds like Brock was fine with it, right? Like, it sounds like that's kind of what he wanted. Like, he wanted to make sure there was enough money for the rest of the team so that it could still be a good supporting cast around him. Like, that's what it sounded like to me.
Yeah, it looks like, I think when you play this game of football, the most cerebral position is the quarterback position. But in order for a quarterback to be cerebral and to go out there and to make the right plays, he wants people he could trust. And if you have money to where you can build, I mean, Tom Brady is the king of this. He did it for several years. He has the championships to prove it, and I don't get why more players aren't trying to follow that blueprint. But it all comes down to
money.
yeah, it comes down to their livelihood, what they're looking for. Some people don't see the next day guaranteed to them. They can't look at it in the foreseeable future. I get it. So I'm not knocking everybody, but you got a guy like Brock that's willing to do this right now. You take advantage of it because it might not be like this in the next 2-3 years. He might have a different opinion. Agent be like, listen, man, I could get you some Boku cash and I could get paid too. So let's go ahead and figure some stuff out. So things can change. But right now, you can't question Brock's mental, aptitude toward what's going on, right? Like this, he gets it. He knows he didn't come into the league with a bad team. He came into the league with a team built to where all he had to do was come in and not think a lot. And that's what he said. If you play more of the presser, I don't know if you have these clips. He said, man, Larry Krueger said, hey, what do you think you need to work on? It's my favorite part of the clip. He said, yeah, man, fundamentals. I don't know about you, Steph, but I said this team is the most non-fundamental sound team I've ever seen in my life. They literally look like the Bad News Bears from every facet, from the coaching down to the special teams. They were just making all kind of crazy mistakes that they haven't made since Pee Wee football or Pop Warner. Fundamentals. He said when he came in here as a rookie, he just did what the coaches coached him to do. And that right there is going to get him back in sync with this offense. So you build the team. There's money to go around. Now, he has to trust that the team is going to do this. I saw a comment in here, Benali P.
Yep, I saw that one.
And I want to high five that person. I want to high five her because Trent Baalke chose Colin Kaepernick. He chose to pay Colin Kaepernick before they went to take care of Jim Harbaugh. That was the division between Harbaugh and the general manager at that time. They paid the quarterback, and when they paid Colin Kaepernick, I believe they were talks saying, listen, we're going to pay you, but we're going to build this team around you, and they never did. The whole offensive line left. He had the weapons left, and next thing you know, Colin Kaepernick's out there running for his life. He ends up injured and never really progresses to the next level of football. And I'm not blaming that on just what the team did, but I feel like that was a part of his decline. And so I don't feel like this regime is that regime. I feel like they're not shiesty like that, but I think Brock trusts the organization, the front office, to make sure that this team is competing year in and year out. And as long as we're doing that, I feel like the window isn't closing. I feel like the window is still open. If it's slightly open, if it's way open, I don't know. It's open. Open is open.
Yeah, open is open. It does seem like the 49ers are kind of banking to keep the window open for as long as they can, or as wide as they can, I guess, for the next 2-3 years. When you look at the deals they made with Kittle as well as Fred Warner as well, like they're kind of almost packaging these foundational players and making sure that they're in it for these next few years at the very least, and then they could reassess again in 2-3 years how they want to move forward from there. But yeah, I mean, I think I always said it like that 2023 season, Brock, the way he talked about the team, anytime he was asked about himself and his own success, he would always defer back to, well, my guys, like it wouldn't be possible without the guys on this team, all this stuff. So I think he was always very aware of how he fits into that and how that is necessary in a way for him to be successful. I think there's probably a part of him that is curious, hey, like what would I look like if I didn't have all these weapons? But I don't know if you really want to find out the answer to that. So why don't you just keep it how it is and how you've been successful? So
I think we kind of got a taste of that last year.
We did.
Just a little slither, like a little test taste of what it would be like. And if we go into the 2025 season, I mean, the number one person he gets back, the number one person that he trusted offensively clearly was Christian McCaffrey. I mean, they were like
Yes, that's
inseparable.
huge.
You get him back, and the check down is back on the table, right? Like, oh, nope, not open, not open, not open. Boom, boom. It's back on the table. And then you got to think about the rapport, the chemistry, the vibe he's building with the other guys. I felt like him and Ricky started to make a connection. Maybe we'll see these deep passes down the field of Jacob Collin. Maybe we'll use Jacob Collin a little differently. He seemed to improve his whole body type. Like, he's gotten bigger and stronger. If you look at his workouts,
Yes,
he's like, yo, I can't be a $168, but I got to be a $198, $188. Whatever it is he's doing, he's putting on the muscle, because that's what happens, yo. You get these kids out of college, man. Them playing in college is one way. It's faster, stronger, bigger, quicker, thunder, lightning. The NFL is a totally different monster. You're playing against the best of the best, right? And so these kids got to find ways to improve. I think when Brock Purdy, came into the game, he just did whatever the coaches told him. And I'm not saying he's a system quarterback, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But when it's time to make an off-schedule play, he has the ability to make the off-schedule play. Why? Because last season, Steph, I felt like that's all we watched. It was Brock trying to make an off-schedule play. So now he's got that in his repertoire. Now he's going to go back to being and trusting his footwork, his arms, the receivers being where they need to be, throwing the balls to the spots, opposed to trying to fit the ball to the wide receiver. All that's going to be probably fixed up going into this season. I'm excited to see what Brock does.
Man, I sure hope so. And, Brock was asked about Christian McCaffrey too, and just how he looks. And, it sounds like Christian looks like Christian, and that's going to be huge for this offense going forward. Because to your point about the checkdowns, like as Benali points out, and I saw John post this too, Chapman, 7.2 checkdown rate, second lowest in the league. Yeah, let's not do that anymore. Of course, there's a correlation between McCaffrey not being available and that check down rate, right? For
sure. It's trust. It's trust. I don't know how to explain it, but part of Kyle Shanahan's system is built off of trust. And when you don't have I don't know what makes Christian McCaffrey that much better than any other running back catching the ball. I really can't explain it. It's just be in that spot, be ready for the ball to come to you if all else fails, and make people miss. But it's something about the trust, we saw a little bit of that develop with Isaac Guerrero last year. He tried with Jordan Mason, and it just didn't pan out, man.
There was no trust there.
Zero.
You can tell there was no trust there. He dropped a couple, he was not looking his way at all. But I'm glad you mentioned what Brock said about the fundamentals and getting back to that, because I do have the clip of him on the Insiders. He was specifically asked about what he wants to work on this year. Let's see what he had to say.
What do you want to work on personally in your game this offseason?
I think for me, it's going back to the fundamentals. And for, cheesy as that sounds, I think for me, I went back and watched some rookie tape with Kyle Shanahan and our OC Kubiak and Mick Lombardi. Like we've watched how when I first came in, how just automatic I was with my foot, my feet and my eyes, and getting the ball out on time. And I want to sink back into that and keeping things simple and execute how I'm being coached. I feel like last year there were some times where I was pretty comfortable and going through reads, but wasn't on top of it like I could have been. And there were some moments where I definitely, was obviously showing some flash and highlights that I usually do. But there was also moments where I was like, all right, man, I got to get back to the basics and be hard on myself and watch the film and be real that, hey, I got to get better in certain areas. And so I'm excited about that. And I've applied that to the field this offseason with the new guys and stuff. So, excited to get after it this year.
I think, Wayne, this is the offseason of self-awareness for the 49ers, for Brock. I'm so encouraged to just know that was his takeaway from watching last year's tape, because I think watching it live, week in and week out, we could see it. We could tell he was trying to do just a little too much, and going off of what made him so special in 2023, which was just the quick processing, just get it out and go have that feel for the timing with your guys. Like the timing of everything was off. Maybe even the trust of everything was off because, you know, you got guys coming in and out of the lineup, injuries and whatnot. But also, yeah, I think what he said is probably true. Just not really always playing how he's coached to play. And I think I do appreciate that, you know, Mick Lombardi, new quarterback coach, is already getting involved here and having these conversations. And of course, you know, that's what the offseason's for, right? So I'm just very encouraged by this. And also I'm just excited to see what that looks like in a more mature version of 2023, I think.
Yeah, I mean, look, first of all, accountability. Brock has zero problems with it. And so, you know what, Steph, I got to do my round of applause because that we've never had a quarterback that showed accountability here. Maybe Trey a little bit.
Standing up.
Other than that, no. And this is what I love. First of all, in order to grow, you got to make mistakes. And let me just say that because I know coming from my teaching background, I always told my students the first day of class, I always shared a story with my students. I asked my students, we did a little group activity, and I asked, did anybody ever fail a class, fail a course or whatever? And so then I talked to them about how I failed the course. And it didn't happen until I got to my sophomore year at UConn, and I was a business major at the time, and I probably took 3 hard business courses in one semester trying to just knock stuff out quicker, right? And so one of those courses really kicked my tail, not gonna lie. It was business calculus 2, and for some reason, you know, that messed me up. And so to make a long story short, I failed the course. I ended up on academic probation after that semester, the first semester of my sophomore year, so third semester. And fourth semester, I said, you know what? I was down on myself a lot because I never failed before in my life, especially at class. And so I was just like, dang, yo, like, I know I'm not stupid. Like maybe I was too distracted here, too distracted there, and just not super focused enough. That next semester, I found a way to reflect going through that. I had to go through the adversity. I had to reflect. Hell, I was on academic probation. You think I wanted to tell my mom that? I didn't. I don't think she knew to this day. I hope she's not watching.
Yeah,
I hope not. But I don't watch. So I had to go through that, but it made me stronger. It made me smarter. It made me better with time. It made me better with everything in that moment. It was my moment. It was my time to fail, but it made me better. And in that period, I had to reflect. I had to self-reflect. Self-reflection, being self-aware of some of the things what your flaws are is important. It's hard to do it when you're consistently working, when you're consistently doing this, doing that, competing. This 6-11, going 6-11, not entering the playoffs might have been just the best reset here for the 49ers. It might not be a reset mentally, physically, or whatever, but just like up here mentally, definitely they got a chance to rest, reflect, and regenerate, right? It's starting with our quarterback, and he's letting you know. I guarantee you, Brock Purdy is not the only person feeling this way.
Yeah.
And think about all the trauma that happened in our locker room last year. And I'm not blaming that. At the end of the day, we just failed to execute, period. That's what happened. We lost a lot of games too close for comfort, and we just failed to execute. We could have easily been in the playoffs winning 3-4 more games. That's how close it was. Unfortunately, it didn't pan out that way, but losing might have been the best thing for the 49ers. And I love the fact that Brock Purdy is accountable for his flaws, and he's saying where he needs to be better. Getting back to the basics is everything. And I hope the defense is watching this from Brock Purdy, saying he need to get back to the basics, because if I see one missed tackle, oh man, I'm raising hell. My wrath will be fury, because I do not want to see missed tackles under Robert Saleh. It didn't happen when he was here. He didn't go for that stuff, and I'm hoping he's the same type of coach he was when he was here prior, because he didn't play that missed tackle and stuff. Your ass was on the sideline, you missed the tackle. I can't wait to see how this defense responds. I know we're talking about Brock, but I'm holding everybody accountable.
Hey, that defense needed a lot of reflection. Let's just leave it there. But this is the humble side of Brock, right? And we of course have come to know and love that part of him. But he also has this little, like, kind of cocky side to him that we also love and appreciate. And it comes out every here and then. And, I think we got it in this KNBR interview that he had. And I'll just play the clip because you guys are going to love what he had to say.
Are you a top 10 quarterback in the NFL?
Yes, sir.
So we make lists all the time. That's all we do here on Sports Talk Radio. Like, is that like something you hear about?
Like lists and stuff.
Yeah, like you put yourself amongst your peers.
Yeah, no, I think for sure I'm a top 10 quarterback. I'll leave it at that. I'm not gonna, create a list or anything right now. So.
Well, smart man, not to, directly compare himself to any other quarterbacks in the league. But for him to, for one, that little, like, laughing
Okay,
chuckle,
I just want to make sure we was on the same page.
No, that chuckle was like that was like a smirk chuckle. That's like exactly. That's the one. Yes, that told me everything before he even started speaking. He said, I think for sure I'm a top 10 quarterback. And I think also he's smart to just kind of leave it at that, and that's all that matters. We have a quarterback who sees himself as being a top 10 quarterback. And you could certainly make that argument. We have at different points in his playing career have made that argument as well. I just love this swag from him, the swagger that he brings, the confidence that he brings. And again, he's a humble dude. So like when it comes out, he really means it.
I like the humility from Brock Purdy. I feel like he's very well trained. He didn't get caught with the bait, even though he's a fisherman. Like the bait didn't. He switched it. Bait and switch. He switched it, right? So Brock we're watching a young man literally like grow, like into a more mature man, like, right? An adolescent man, I guess. I get that middle, like he's getting into that tier. He's married now.
Yeah.
He's got a year of that under his belt. Like, and so like he's definitely maturing. I love the chuckle. Let me just be the first to say I don't think there's anybody on this team more competitive than Brock. And I heard he was an asshole in the huddle, which is what I love because that's what the quarterback has to do. There was no greater asshole of a quarterback than Peyton Manning. I'm sorry.
Or Brady.
I think Manning was a little deeper. Do you remember that? Let's talk about this. Do you remember that NFL films when he was cursing out Jeff Saturday? And Jeff Saturday was cursing him back out.
Yeah.
And he was like, well, run the fucking ball. Like, I was like, well, you just talked to your quarterback like that? Yo, the fact that the quarterback was mad at the offensive line for not pass blocking, and then Jeff Saturday stood up and was like, maybe we get that. And I'm saying that to say this. What if? It's big what if. And guys, don't unfollow or unsubscribe to me or Steph, because I'm going to say this. What if the rapport between him and Jake Brendo is going to be on that line where they're going to be kind of like inseparable this season? I think we see a little bit of different Jake Brendo. I mean, if they're bonding, playing golf instead of going over plays and taking hikes and huddles and stuff, that's a good sign. You know what I'm saying? The quarterback to center exchange is huge. So maybe we see with Brock being, financially satisfied right now and doesn't have to worry about any of this stuff. The only thing he cares about is football. Like, it's in his DNA. Like, all he talks about is how I can be better for this team, how I can help this team win. I got paid, but I want to get back to winning. His whole goal, Steph, was to get this done before OTAs. Well, a week later, they get it done. Right? Because the first part, phase one, let me be clear. Phase 1. Phase 2 starts May 27th. But the whole point was to get it done. It didn't get done phase 1, but it got done right before phase 2. And so his dream came true because now he goes into camp and he can focus on how to help make this team better by starting with himself. So I like that from Brock. I think Brock is a hell of a competitor. I think in the huddle, though, he commands it. If you listen to the players, they don't hold no punches. They say he's a beep head, like real talk, and I like it.
Yeah, we have heard we've gotten little tidbits from players, talking about Brock's leadership. And I think it might have been Kittle who mentioned, I forgot where, but I think he mentioned that like Brock's already like even more vocal than he's been in the past, which is huge. As far as Jake Brendel goes, dude got a Toyota from Brock just last year. The least he could do is be better. Wayne, like that. That's bare minimum right there.
Okay. Okay.
That's bare minimum.
Listen, you ain't never lied. And I'm gonna leave it at that. I will say this. I don't know why. Like he only gave up 1 sack. Now maybe centers aren't supposed to give up sacks at all, I guess. But he only gave up 1 sack. I mean, yeah, the pressures are there. Yeah, he looked dumbfounded on a lot of plays. Maybe that gets better. Maybe the injuries. I don't know. But he only gave up 1 sack. And if I'm looking at the time my quarterback went down, I think Brock Purdy was sacked 30-something times. That's relatively low compared to 89, 90, like some of those high quarterbacks. Like, so if people are really beating up on the offensive line, I get it. Yeah, we could be better for sure. But at the end of the day, they didn't give up. They gave up a lot of sacks, but they didn't give up a lot of sacks, right? Like they weren't top of the league in giving up sacks or quarterback hits. It was just more, they gave up a lot of pressures. I think that's where we need to fix the O-line. And penalties. Penalties were crucial. So, yeah, Jake Brendel could be better, and I just feel like they're bonding. How about that? I'll leave it at that.
That's big. That is big because in order to protect someone, like you got to respect them. I think again, like that's kind of bare minimum. It's a quarterback, you better respect them. But 2, I think if you actually genuinely really like that person and you've built a bond, as we're saying, with that person, like you're gonna want to protect them even harder, right? So
yeah, I want to see a Jake Brendel say "F you, Brock." Like,
I want to be a bully.
I want the fire. I want the fire. Give me the fire. Give me the fire. That's what I want. I want fire from my center. I watch Jeff Saturday do it on TV clips. I want to see Jake Brendel. Do you have that fire? Do you have the fire to tell Brock to shut the hell up and run the ball? I want to know. I'm challenging Jake Brendel on the 49ers Carrot podcast right now. Do you have the fire? You build a rapport. You guys are golfing. You should have let him win. I hope you let him win. And then on the football field, you let him know we running the damn ball. Like,
my God. Well, Brock in that KNPR interview was asked about, the offensive line and just the perception of the offensive line and how he feels about the line. And, obviously Brock, he called them war daddies. I mean, that's one way to put it, I guess. That was an interesting word choice. But, he obviously has a lot of respect for those guys, and you have to as well. It's a two-way street. Like they really both got to like each other a lot. So this bonding is good. And to go back to, Brock Purdy being present at phase 1, we talked about he wanted to have this deal done before phase 1, but you know what, Wayne, he showed up anyway. That is what a leader does. And it's no coincidence to me. It's no coincidence to me that Kittle did the same. Fred Warner did the same. These are leaders of the team, and it sets a really good example for everyone else. And so I'm glad to see those guys get rewarded. But one other fun topic that I thought Brock was asked about is he was asked about, just some people thinking that the 49ers Super Bowl window is closed. And so as far as, I don't have the actual clip of that one, but I got the quote here. So he says, quote, "I could tell you that nobody buys into what the outside world says, just the energy here in our locker room and out on the practice field. Everyone has a chip on their shoulder, which excites me because I feel like the best teams and situations come from when people are doubting you," end quote. We feel it. We feel the energy, right? We've been feeling it for some time, Wayne, that we kind of just get the sense that this team is reinvigorated a little bit. And you hear it coming from the players as well. For most of the team to show up for the offseason voluntary portion, I think tells you a lot. And the buzz is growing, I think, inside that building. And I think they're liking people forgetting about them because it gets them back to where they began before, they went on the Super Bowl run. They were underdogs much of that 2019 season before they really went off, right? So I think that this team is going to go down a similar path. And, yeah, they got bulletin board material for sure.
Yeah, I have no doubt in what you're saying. You look at this 49ers team, I think the number one key factor is they're rested. It's a totally different monster when you're fully rested. You know what I'm saying? If I'm the league, I'm scared. Because I know that this team was coming off of a Super Bowl win loss, and they were coming back out with the chips on the shoulder, and they had all this stuff, and they were going to try to do the same thing, and it was almost impossible. Then the injuries started piling up one by one, and then it was just weird. It was a weird season, weird vibe of energy from the Niners. Well, I tell you what, Brock Purdy said, we are re-energized. You can check out my show, Re-Energized, on my YouTube channel. I did it yesterday. They're re-energized, and this is part of the energy that he's talking about. They're rejuvenated. They're healthy. They're well-rested. And yes, they're going to look new in some ways. But they're going to look new on the defensive side more than on the offensive side. I think the offensive side is more intact. And the only two people I feel like you're going to be missing is Aaron Banks, who is your starting left guard. And he was injured for the majority of the last season as well. And Deebo Samuel won't be there. Well, they have other guys. They could probably just get the ball and put it in their hands. So it's going to be interesting. Brandon Ayuk didn't play much of last year. I'm expecting him not to play much this year, but I'm expecting the team and the offense to grow. When you get Brandon Ayuk back, whoa, where's that Brock chuckle? Yeah, I'm top 10 now. When I get Ayuk back, I'm top 3. Like, I could feel it. That's the energy and the vibe I could feel coming off from this team. Like, you know what I mean?
Wayne, I think you need a soundbite of the Brock chuckle, and we need to make that a thing. It's like, yeah.
A chuckle is so dope.
That's a chuckle. That's a chuckle that had aura. You know,
like how dare you? Like, what you think? Like,
exactly.
You know
what you think? Oh man. So I feel like that's a similar energy. Yeah, like you said, that the whole team is feeling right now. It's what's the word? Is it palpable or impalpable?
Yeah, palpable. That's exactly what that's exactly it. That's exactly it. They are feeling that.
There we go.
Perfect word.
Good, because I wasn't sure if it was the right one, but you got me, Wayne. You got me. But speaking of health, like that's a big part of this. Like a part of the reason why
How do I be knowing your points before your points pop? That's crazy. This is crazy. It's been a crazy Friday vibe.
You always like give me something that I could segue with. Wow. I appreciate that.
I set you up. You the Jordan, man. Let me Pippin it all day.
But this was literally like the next slide I had on deck. So
wow. I don't know the stuff we talking about because I don't know what we talking about. When we do the show, we show. Friday, I get the green light. Cool, sign me up. Steph be like, we might talk about, I don't know about that. Anyway, at the end of the day, I did not know this was a slide. I was just saying the team is healthy.
Yeah, I don't give him the specifics. He doesn't know what's on these slides until, the rest of you see it. But this one right here is on Brock Purdy's health, right? And we know last season, a lot of what kept them from finding their footing at any point was the lack of health that they had. A lot of people dealing with injuries. And so Brock himself, dealing with a shoulder injury during the season and then also towards the end of the year, with that elbow. So here's what Brock had to say about how he's feeling right now.
Yeah. To answer your first part, my body feels great. Feel really healthy and 100%. And so it's just finding ways to get better. Obviously just with the new guys and running routes and watching the film and applying that to the field with the ways that we can right now. And then, just 2 years ago, obviously coming off of surgery, I didn't have OTAs, and even camp for me was, 2 days on, 1 day off. So I was missing a day. And so just being grateful that I'm out there and actually getting better and throwing and having an off season to work on fundamentals has been huge.
Man, I think we all thought last season going into it, it was like, well, Brock has a full off season, which wasn't even a full off season because they went to the Super Bowl. So it was a shorter off season by most team standards, but he was going to have a full off season to, just work on those little things and build rapport with his receivers. Well, the issue with that was Brandon Ayuk was not there. He wasn't working with Brandon Ayuk much of the season. Debo looked good for much of the offseason, but then once he got that pneumonia, which was pretty early. I think it was like week 4 or something like that.
Yep.
I mean, he was not the same after that during the
gassed.
season. And then McCaffrey, as we know, not there. So I think in theory, it should have been that for Brock last year. But now that the whole gang's back, whole squad's back together.
Squad up.
And they got the full off season, long off season because they didn't make the playoffs. Like
phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3 gonna be
they got
full
it all.
effect. Yep,
they got it all, and everyone is actually there. That's the key part too. Everyone is actually there already. He's been working with his receivers, as we've seen. Like he's been working with Pearsall, Cowing this off season. So that to me is super encouraging. So again, it's not just the health thing. Everyone's looking healthy, which like let's knock on wood for that, Wayne. But I think
I gotta get a wood knocking sound. Remind me. I
know, right?
Yeah.
So you got my little like.
Oh, I like that. That's a real wood.
I had like a
wood burning kit.
I had a friend who's an artist who like made this for me.
It's dope.
Like a wooden 49ers logo for the audio listeners. But yeah, so anytime I knock on wood, that's what I knock on. So yeah, everyone's healthy right now. That's what the wood knocking was for. But they're taking advantage of that, and trying to get this rapport up. So I think what we were expecting to see last year with Brock having the full season, we're really going to see it applied this year because everyone's actually going to be there and be healthy for the start of the season, which is going to be huge for this team.
1,000%, like 1,000%. And I expect our team to bring it every year. I'm not going to lie. Like I expect it. I don't care who's on this roster. I just feel like if the coaching is what it needs to be, they're going to get these players to play to their max potential. But last year it was what it was. Like I said, I'm not looking at any excuses. We didn't play well. And if you know me, Steph, I don't care if we don't execute, we're not going to win. Period. Like, that's just what it is. Players got to execute. And if they just do what the coach did, I took that whole thing, Brock saying, I got to trust my coaches. If these players just do what the coaches are telling them, it'll work. But when you start going off on your own tangent and you start saying, nah, that's when you start getting the confusion. You start to see missed plays, missed calls, all that type of stuff happens, man. And if you're in a system that's built off of timing is the key. Like Coach Shanahan, what's that Marvel character? Doctor
Strange?
Strange. That's him. It's all about the timing. Quantum physics. Put it here. Put it there. Brock Purdy's Ant-Man. Let's just keep it a buck. I'm going to do a whole series on 49ers to Marvel characters.
Yeah, I love that.
This offseason. I guarantee it. It's coming soon.
That's perfect, actually. That would like when it's slow season, which we'll get into eventually this off season, especially with all these deals getting done. You should do that, Wayne, because that would be really fun. And
it's coming soon.
And I would definitely tune into that. But Wayne, as far as the Brock stuff, that's about the end of it. But I just again really loved. You got the full Brock experience this week, right? Just the humility, just the confidence that he spews, like love it all. And really happy that, he's under contract, this extension, and that it's a team friendly deal. I think, it's a win-win-win. Brock, the team, us fans. So
yeah, win-win-win. Like that.
Win-win-win. We're looking forward to that for sure. But let's get to just like a couple of quick hitters here. We got a front office reunion. The 49ers expected to reunite with former Jags assistant general manager Ethan Wall per a league source. This is from Aaron Wilson, by the way, posting this previously with San Francisco's personnel department before working in Jacksonville. Yeah, like Ethan Wall had, and I don't know if that's how you pronounce his last name, Wayne. So
I said why. What it should be is Wath. Like if you you replace the W with the L, you get laugh. It should be Wath. So we don't know.
This is why I hate English, because
it's right. The worst language ever.
Absolutely.
1,000 rules for no reason.
By your logic, that makes absolute sense. But anyway, yeah, like so Ethan Wall, I'm just gonna say Wall. he started his tenure with the 49ers back in 2004 as a personnel assistant. Then he climbed the ranks. He was a regional scout, senior personnel assistant, senior player personnel coordinator. Thank you, ChatGPT. Director of college scouting and football systems. And then he eventually became the vice president of player personnel in 2021 and 2022. So after that is when he left to the Jags. And he was the assistant general manager under Trent Baalke in Jacksonville. So
Correct.
a lot of 49ers connections there. But now he's back with the 49ers. And we don't know exactly what his role is going to be with the 49ers this time around. But I guess we'll see. That clearly they liked him when they had him. Like Jed obviously, definitely respects his opinion. So that one's, pretty big, Wayne. Also, we had the Dwight Clark legacy event happen earlier this week. And it's an event where, there's a lot of different things that happen. But we get some interviews and we also get a player that wins the award. This year was Diamador Lenore winning the Dwight Clark Award, and it's rewarded to a player who best embodies the spirit of teamwork, camaraderie, and competitiveness that Dwight Clark exemplified. And Diamador Lenore had to say this about it on his Instagram. First is this picture of his interception from a few years back. He's still wearing the number 38 on this one. A few years back when they played the Cowboys, and he had that pick that did resemble the catch quite a bit. And it's funny because they were playing the Cowboys, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so he posted the caption, "Pictures worth billions of words. Ever since this picture surfaced, I always thought of a moment on how to be remembered. Dwight Clark and the historical catch was a legendary moment that will last forever. The legacy lives on. Honored and blessed to receive the 2025 Dwight Clark Legacy Award." So happy for him. I can't think of let's go. I can't think of anyone who deserves that award based on last season, especially, more than Lenore. I think he's really grown into just another foundational player on this team that, you want any player on that secondary to want to embody something that Lenore brings to the table.
1,000%. This is one of our dogs. I kind of miss him wearing 38. I know it looked weird, but I miss calling him 38 special. Now we got to call him 2. I don't even know.
Now we got to call him 2. Just 2.
It's just 2. I don't got to think of something with 2. if it was 22, we call him Deuce. But no, he's number 2. And he's probably made one of the biggest improvements year after year. If you look at him, his rookie season, you look at the way he's able to break down coverages now, he's got the cerebral part, right? It's all about how do you become, a student of the game professionally. There's one way to do it on the collegiate level, and then you got to go back to being a student. I would always say, playing football, you got to treat it like any type of profession. If you got to go back to class, you got to go back to school. What new is out there? What new can I learn? And if you never stop learning, you'll continue to succeed. And that's what Diamador Lenore is proven, a.k.a. Demo. That's what he's proven year in and year out. So I'm very happy. Award well-deserved for Demo.
2 Live Crew. I like that from Slick.
Okay. I thought you knew. I thought you knew, Steph. I thought you knew.
And you can also go back to the hyena. That one.
Oh, he's still the hyena.
Yeah,
I was just thinking of the number.
You want something with 2 in it.
2 in it. I was just thinking of 2. Yeah, I just can't think of anything. Terrible 2, something 2. I don't know.
Terrible 2. I mean, there's a lot of things you could do with 2, but I'm gonna have to think on it. Let's circle back on that.
I like that. Too legit to quit. Hey, that's it. That is it. That is it. I can't even do it. Yeah, let's go. I like that. They from the Bay too. Let's go.
Hey, that's perfect. And he's got that one little dance, I almost feel like that would go perfect with that song for some reason. I like
that. We got to make sure we credit Technique Chic.
Technique Chic.
That's dope.
I always say Technics Chic.
Or Technics. I was thinking it's because Technique would have an IQE in it. So Technics Chic. Technics, are you a DJ, by the way? Because that's the name of turntables. Just curious to know. If
yeah.
Yeah, just curious to know. And then Chic is clothing. So are you a DJ clothing? I'm just curious. I'll just be going trying to break down names. But the same way he gave, I like that.
I mean,
Too legit to quit.
she
It's
knows
long,
music.
but I like it.
She knows music, so we got that. We got that. But yeah, no, well, I like, DJ, Think Chic.
Call me a genius. I'm a motherfucking genius. I'm the Kyle Shanahan of this shit. I knew it. I knew it. Once I saw Technics, I knew it.
I didn't this whole time. Like, Technic's been a fan and has been a viewer of the show.
I got Pioneers
some
Technics
time now, and I never put that together.
Yeah.
She's a DJ, hip hop Technics fan. That's awesome.
Now, so she's a she. So I got to ask her this question: you got the turntables with the needles, or are you on the CD, the J's, or do you have? I'm all I'm all MP3ish now. Like I'm just curious to know what type of equipment, since you rock with the Technics. But I got the Pioneer. I'm a Pioneer DJ.
We get into Technics lore right here.
Right.
I'm predicting that she's got the needles on there.
Okay, that's
predicting.
That's the skill. That's old school.
It's a lost art for sure. Lost art. All right.
That was fun.
This was a really, really fun show. I told you. What did I say at the top of the show?
You said that we're gonna probably run with something and just have fun. Look, I used to have turntables.
She said I used to have turntables with needles back in the day. Don't really DJ myself though. Okay.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
All right, Wayne. Well, you should put a little.
See what I'm saying? All we did was talk about Technics. You gave us this thing, and we went on a rant. And now Axel is in here saying Rain is dope. Rain is expensive as shit. I'm not buying Rain. It's too expensive. I'm gonna stick with my Pioneers, and they do me justice. And you know, I'm gonna stick with that. But Rain is expensive for sure.
Damn. All right.
Yeah.
DJ
I know the
Bucks
equipment.
over here.
Yeah. I'm a music tech. I'm a music geek, I guess. Yeah.
I am too, but I never got into DJing myself.
Yeah.
But anyway, appreciate everyone. Yo, this was a really fun show. Wayne, as always, appreciate you coming on a Friday. Make sure you guys like this video and subscribe to the channel, not just mine, but Wayne's as well. Show some love. And audio listeners, leave a rating, leave a review. Always really appreciate that. But for now, folks, have a good long weekend. Go out there, touch some grass, be happy, because we got nothing but good things to be happy about, faithful. So let's get out there and get it. But for now, peace, y'all. Talk to you Monday.